What I feel most PhD students lack, and I speak from personal experience as well, is this sense of control. I would say that almost 100% of the times during my PhD, I was constantly in a rush. I was constantly chasing some milestones, and when they didn't arrive quite soon as I expected, I would feel like disappointed or sad, or I would say, okay, this, I'm not good enough for that, and so on. But the important thing, when you sort of investigate a little bit what is it that you're actually craving when you're feeling that way, is a sense of control. And during my PhD, I felt that I didn't have control over anything. I felt that I couldn't control how fast my supervisor would, give me feedback. I felt I couldn't control how what data would show, whether my hypothesis would be confirmed or not. And this is some things that you can objectively not control. Like the fact that we aim to control it but then we can't is just our own issue, because you can not possibly control how other people react, how your data react on how your experiment will eventually turn out. So I feel that it's very important to empower PhD students to gain that sense of control back and give themselves that sense of control. And one of the strategies that I used during my PhD and I use now with all of my clients is gaining back the control. And the ways you can gain control is, one simple strategy that I apply is always thinking about how your research makes sense in the broader picture. Because sometimes we are so busy chasing the next thing on our to-do list that we never stop and actually think whether our research that we already had, that we already done, makes some sense. And this is one of the very first steps, very first things that will give you back a sense of control, when you know exactly what you have and exactly where you are going. Another thing that also works quite well is the way you define your next steps and your next tasks. For example, if you are saying that in the next month you want to achieve, to figure out how to fix the model, to make sure that your experiment works, and to finish the thesis, all of those things are very, very vague. Like the way you define them, like you never know when it's done and how far away from done are you, because you are defining it in a way that it's very vague and it doesn't give you a sense of control. Whereas if you do this simple change, like if instead of saying I want to figure something out, you say I want to read three literature papers that talk about this thing. This is something much more tangible that will, when you complete that, it will give you that sense of control back. Like, okay, I'm trying to figure this out, but how am I doing so? I'm reading these things. So this thing, that learning and training our brain to actually work towards structuring stuff, towards being specific with our tasks and our own expectations from ourselves, is something that I feel it's very, very important during the PhD journey, in which, as I said before, and as you are very well aware of, is hard, since the result and the end result, the tangible result, is very late in the process. So you can spend months or even years chasing something, doing something, and then publish the paper 2 years later. So in order to get that sense of control back, it's very useful to apply those strategies. Having said that, if this is where you are at with your PhD, if you feel that you do not have any control over your research, if you feel that everything is a complete mess and don't know how to put it together into a story that makes sense for your thesis, if you're wondering what are the next steps you should take in order to get closer to that finish line of publishing of submitting your thesis or publishing your paper, I want to invite you to schedule a completely free intro coaching call with me. I will leave a link down below in the description where you can do so, and in that meeting we can discuss exactly where you're at with your research and what are some next steps you can take in order to get closer to that finish line, whether on your own or with my support. So I hope that you found this video useful, and as always, see you in the next few days with another video. Bye bye.